During this video segment, I want to show you a new report called the Horizontal Scope and Sequence Report. Previously, we had our Scope and Sequence report, which would allow you to see each of your courses, your time frames listed on the left side, and each of the units in each of those time frames. And it's a very handy report, but you really could only look at one course at a time. With this new report, it allows you to look at multiple courses simultaneously. So for instance, if I wanted to compare Algebra 1 with Algebra 2 and Pre-Calc all at the same time and see which units are all taught in each of the time frames, I could do that. For instance, just looking at Quarter 1, I can see in Algebra 1 we teach Algebra Foundations, Algebra 2, Review of Algebra, and so forth. So you can very easily see the time frames across the top and compare the units taught in each of those time frames for each of those courses. It's more of a horizontal scope and sequence for each of your courses. However, in order to use this report, all the time frames have to be the same for the courses in that template. As a result, in order to use this report, you need to lock your time frames for that course. To do that, we'll go to Admin, Setup, and if I go to the Manage Templates, I actually in my school have two templates. I happen to know these math courses belong to this template right here. And if I click on Default Time Frames, notice that there's a checkbox marked here that I can lock the time frames for all courses attached to this template. By having that checked, then if you were to add a new course, a new math course that uses this template, these four quarters would automatically be defined for the teacher. Now, if you don't see this checkbox, that's because in our administrative tool, we have that turned off for you. It probably means that you are a fully established client or school already, and therefore we want to make sure you watch this video first to understand the ramifications of having this turned on. So again, if this is turned off, then what that allows you as a school or as a teacher to do is I can go to one of my courses. So let's go to this liberal math course. I can go to my Edit Time Frames and Units, and notice that I have the ability to add time frames, and I can call them whatever I want. Notice I have the ability to edit time frames, so if I want to rename those, I can do that. However, if we lock those down, so let's go back to Admin, Setup, Manage Templates. We'll go to Default Time Frames for that default template. And I'm going to go ahead and lock this down and click Save. Now by doing that, now if I go to that very same course, and notice if I click Edit Time Frames and Units, there's no longer an add, and notice there's no delete or edit by any of these time frames. There also is a message here that says Required. Map your two standard time frames. And what that's saying is, notice we have Quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that this is locked down, what we want to do is we want to get it out of my old format that I had. I use Semester 1 and Semester 2 and move it into these quarters here. So if I click on this, we have a nice mapping tool that says take all the units, there are 5 of them, in Semester 1 and move them to Quarter 1. And let's take all the units in Semester 2 and we'll move those to Quarter 3. And click Save. Now notice that my Semester 1 and 2 are gone and I have just these quarters. And this might not be perfect because I moved from semesters to quarters, so maybe I have to take this particular unit and I need to move it to Quarter 2. And we'll say this one as well. Polynomials should go to Quarter 2 as well. And likewise, I might have to go to Quarter 3 and move a few of these to Quarter 4. Again, because we were moving from semesters to quarters instead. So now I have this done, and now if I go back to my map for this particular course, Notice that it's organized by quarters instead. And so now if I run this report, and we'll go back to this report once again, the scope and sequence, notice this new course then has everything moved and it fits into this report as well. You'll notice some of these courses here do not have any units in quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's probably because they're still using the old methodology of semester 1 and 2. So, in order to generate this report, you need to lock down the time frames so all the teachers use the same time frames. And if you do that, and you're already in an established school, you're probably going to, when those teachers go in to their various courses, and they click on that edit time frame and unit, so let's go to a different one actually. I'll go to Math 5. They click edit time frames and units, they may have to map those units. So what was in semester 1, I'm going to move to quarter 1. And so now that course is done. So that's something that the individual teachers will have to do for those courses. So it is some work for the teachers, and that's why we want to make sure that before we turn on that lock feature for you, you understand that your teachers are going to have to go into each of their courses and they're going to have to move those units from the old time frames to the new time frames. If you're a brand new curriculum track school or have done very little work, then I recommend you consider doing that because it's going to make it a lot easier for your teachers to go into the edit time frames and units because they're not going to have to set up the time frames. They'll be set up for them. Again, if it's a brand new course, a new course like, let's go to Math 5. Notice there's no units here yet. Now when I click Edit Time Frames and Units, notice I don't have to add in the quarters. They're automatically here for me, and I can click Add Unit to start adding those various units in. So there's quite a bit to this video, so to recap once again, first of all, in order to utilize this new report, this horizontal scope and sequence report, we need to have your time frames locked down so that you have that consistent amongst all your courses in a template. And it's not for your entire system, it's for each template. So if your school only has one template, you'd lock it down for that entire template. In order to lock that template down, you need to go to Admin, Setup, Manage Templates, find the template, click Default Time Frames, and it should be at the top. If you don't see this, you can contact support by submitting a support ticket to us. So you can come here and go to Support Center or send an email to support@curriculumtrack.com and tell us that you watched this video in its entirety and that you understand the concerns, you understand that your teachers are going to have to move all their units to the new time frames that are locked down, and then we can turn that on for you. So again, you'll need to lock those down. Once you have those locked down, then your teachers will go to their courses. They will click Edit Time Frames and Units. So let's do one again that hasn't been done. They'll click Edit Time Frames and Units. They'll see their old time frames with the units in them and the new ones. And what they can do is they can click on this and they could move these all manually one by one, but we recommend using this mapping feature. It's a quick way to take these 4 and move it to this quarter, and these 4 and move it to this quarter, and so forth. This now concludes this video segment. Thank you.